poetry, war and conflict, Bayonet charge and poems to compare it to. Suddenly he awoke and was running, raw. In raw seamed hot khaki, his sweat heavy, stumbling across a field of clods towards a green hedge that dazzled with rifle fire, hearing bullets smacking the belly out of the air. He lugged a rifle numb as a smashed arm, the patriotic tear that had brimmed in his eye, sweating like molten iron from the centre of his chest. In bewilderment, then he almost stopped, in what cold clockwork of the stars and the nations. What was he, the hand pointing that second? He was running, like a man who has jumped up in the dark and runs, listening between his footfalls for the reason of his still running, and his foot hung like statuary in mid-stride. Then the shot slashed furrows, threw up a yellow hair that rolled like a flame and crawled in a threshing circle, its mouth wide, open silent, its eyes standing out. He plunged past with his bayonet towards the green hedge. King, honour, human dignity, etc., dropped like luxuries in a yelling alarm to get out of that blue crackling air, his terrors touchy dynamite. So suddenly thrusts the listener into the action and relates the idea of waking up, his sweat heavy, and this metaphor shows the physical impact of the soldier's fear. That dazzled with rifle fire. The sparks created by rifle fires are beautified in this image. Bullets smacking the belly. This metaphor is quite violent and creates a tense, violent atmosphere and alludes to someone being winded and unable to breathe. Patriotic tear. Fear appears to have taken over the soldiers' patriotism. It almost reminds them that patriotic nonsense of why is not true, of why they are being forced in war. He almost stopped. The use of the hyphen creates a pause, which coincides with the idea of the soldier being about to stop. Listening between his footfalls for the reason of his still running, the soldier begins to further question the reason for him fighting. Threw up a yellow hair. The violent connotations of threw up contrasts with the innocence of a hair. Now, the listing of, king, honour, human dignity is quite contrasted with etc. The soldier appears to have completely abandoned his previous upheld values and motivation to fight. Now let's look at the poet context. The poet's name is Ted Hughes and was born in 1930 and passed away in 1998. He was a famous war poet, and although he wasn't alive in World War I, he was a child during World War II. He never fought or saw war firsthand. Instead, he grew up in a post-war era and saw the influences in his home in Yorkshire. This rural upbringing is evident in his poetry, which usually focuses on animals. Hughes studied mythology, which is shown in the image of the yellowish hair, as well as anthropology, which is shown through the poem's fixation on instinctual behaviour. The poem is from the collection The Hawk in the Rain, which was dedicated to his wife, Sylvia Plath. The poems in the collection were focused on the real and symbolic lives of animals. Structure and form essay points. So enjambment stops the reader from taking a break or pause, which quickens the pace and also increases the tension that's building. The whole of the first stanza is a single sentence. Now this matches the tense action of the poem. Caesura is also used, and this pauses and stops the fast pace, this contrast is only made bigger by this, and the pace of the second stanza is much slower to read as it's broken up, because here we see the soldier is stopping to consider things, the philosophical meaning of war, why he is running. He starts to question things. And finally, repetition. Hugh repeats raw, which stands out against the strength of his other vocabulary, conveying the soldier's intense suffering. Repetition is also reminiscent of stuttering, as if the soldier is experiencing a breakdown in rationality as a result of their anxiety and stress. Looking at language essay points, Hughes combines lexis from the semantic field of body parts and violence with metaphors which dehumanises the soldier to blur the lines of what is human and what is a weapon. Similes are also used to portray the soldier as unprepared for war by likening his rifle to a smashed arm. This implies that the soldier seems disconnected from his weapon. He feels uncomfortable holding it and shows his physical unsuitability for the role. The rifle is presented to be numb and cold, showing how unnatural the soldier deems committing acts of violence really are. And finally, poems to compare it to. So this compares quite well to Exposure. In terms of similarities, they both have a sense of duty imposed by patriotism. They both present unprepared soldiers, and they both present questioning of motivation to fight. However, in differences, Remains shows the impact after war, once a soldier is home on leave, while Bayonet Charge is the effect while the soldier is still stumbling across the field. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe, and for more advice, follow me on Instagram at GCSE. Thank you for watching and see you soon.